orphaned, as civilians pay the heaviest price. The war in West Asia expands as the world powers fail in de-escalation efforts.
Watch the West Asia Post with me, Radi Francis, only on WION The World is One. Welcome back. You're watching WION The World is One, and this is World DNA. I'm Jyotsna Kumar. Let's start with the headlines. Big security pangs for Pakistan ahead of the SCO summit later this week. Minister warns PDI Chief Imran Khan blames what he calls a neighboring country for stoking unrest. Prohibitory orders imposed in Karachi City ahead of the meet. A violence-marred Yom Kippur in Israel, Lebanon and Gaza. Israel says Hezbollah fired 320 projectiles. Itself claims to have hit around 280 terror targets in Lebanon and Gaza. India among 40 countries contributing to the UN-Lebanon peacekeeping force to condemn the recent Israeli attack on a peacekeeping mission. At least 5 peacekeepers wounded by Israeli fire in the last 48 hours. More than 100 UN member states signed letter for support for UN Chief Antonio Guterres after Israel declared him persona non grata. US, UK, Australia and Canada among nations that did not back the UN chief. Two people arrested after Nationalist Congress Party leader and former minister Baba Siddiqui is shot dead in Mumbai late on Saturday. Maharashtra Chief Minister Shinde vows strict action. The state goes to assembly elections later this year. British PM Keir Starmer and King Charles lead tributes to Scotland's former First Minister Alex Salmond after his sudden death on Saturday. Salmond led the pro-independence side ahead of the referendum in 2014 and made a huge mark in Scotland's politics.
Consultation paper.
The Shara and Durga Puja festival celebrations around India wind to a close with the burning of the effigy of demon king Ravan and the holy immersion of the idol of the Durga. Men in blue script history in India versus Bangladesh third T20 international notch a mind-boggling 297 runs in their innings, the second highest total ever posted in a T20I match, and the highest by a test-playing nation.
Oh, he's just too good. India finishing with 297. Back. Does the sail? Yes. He's been so powerful there.
And we begin with West Asia. Israel Hezbollah fire and counterfire that hit the highest levels during Yom Kippur that ended on Saturday continues to rage. At least 15 people have been killed and 37 wounded in Israeli strikes across 3 different areas in Lebanon. The 3 targeted locations were outside Hezbollah's traditional strongholds. One of them was the town of Deir Billah in northern Lebanon, which has not been struck before. Lebanon's health ministry has reported 9 dead in an Israeli strike on the village of Maestria. It also reported 2 dead and unidentified body parts in the strike on Deir Billah and said 4 people were killed in a strike on Baja. These are not areas usually considered Hezbollah strongholds. Lebanese official media also said that an Israeli strike targeted a marketplace in Nabatea. Flames were seen rising and smoke billowing from the rubble at the marketplace. This comes after the Israeli army asked residents to evacuate the city last week. The IDF has now issued evacuation orders in 23 more southern Lebanese villages that have been recent targets of Israeli attacks. Many of them are already almost empty. Israeli forces say they pounded roughly 280 terror targets over the Yom Kippur weekend. The IDF said that the sites belonged to both Hezbollah and Hamas and were targeted during combat operations in Lebanon and Gaza. From the other side, the IDF has claimed a massive Hezbollah attack on northern Israel. It says Hezbollah fired 320 projectiles from Lebanon into Israel through the weekend of Yom Kippur, Judaism's holiest day. French President Emmanuel Macron, on the other hand, has called on Hezbollah to end its strikes on Israel during a talk with Lebanon's parliament speaker. Meanwhile, another member of the UN peacekeeping mission in Lebanon is reported to have been struck by gunfire. This is the 5th peacekeeper wounded in southern Lebanon in just 2 days. The spokesperson for the UN interim force in Lebanon has said that Israel asked them to withdraw from positions in the border area, but asserted that the peacekeepers will not move 40 nations that contribute to the peacekeeping force in Lebanon have said that they strongly condemn recent attacks on the peacekeepers. The joint statement was released by the Polish UN mission and signed by nations including leading contributors such as Indonesia, Italy, and India. It said such actions must stop immediately and should be adequately investigated. In Israel, as the Yom Kippur holiday drew to a close, families of Israeli hostages held by Hamas gathered in Tel Aviv. About 1,000 protesters chanting and holding placards with photographs of the hostages demanded that the government secure the release of their loved ones after nightfall. Protesters also said that the Israeli government needs to ask for forgiveness for abandoning the hostages. Iran has issued a stark warning to Arab neighbors and oil-rich allies of U.S. as Israel plans a massive payback. Our next report tells you how Iran is indulging in urgent diplomatic efforts to reduce the scale of Israel's retaliatory attack. Take a look at this report.
Iran is on high alert. It has been engaging in urgent diplomatic efforts with West Asian countries to gauge whether they can reduce the scale of Israel's response to its missile attack. The uncertainty about whether the United States can convince Israel not to strike Iranian nuclear sites and oil facilities has left Tehran wondering about Netanyahu's next move. The United States has been consulting with Israel on how it plans to respond to Iran. President Joe Biden has warned Netanyahu, saying Israel's retaliation should be proportional. With United States Gulf allies expressing concern, the Biden administration is widely worried that the ongoing tit-for-tat attacks could spiral into a major regional war that pulls the United States in two. The United States' waning influence on Israel could prove to be Iran's reason to worry. Like Gaza, Israel has increasingly disregarded US's call for restraint in Lebanon. The intense bombing and ground offensive has killed over 2,000 and left dozens injured, according to Lebanese authorities.
עכשיו אתם ראיתם את ההתקפות שהאיראנים תקפו אותנו לפני זמן קצר. ההתקפות האלה היו אגרסיביות, אבל ההתקפות האלה נכשלו כי הם לא היו התקפות מדויקות.
Iran has publicly warned that any party seen aiding Israel will be treated as aggressors. Experts say it is unlikely that Iran's neighbors will explicitly come to Tehran's defense in the event of an Israeli attack. But Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Qatar have made it clear they will not allow Israel to use their airspace to strike Iran. Iran is also reaching out to Russia amid the escalating tensions. President Vladimir Putin has hailed close links with Iran.
هر حال اوضاع در منطقه بسیار بحرانیه و کشورهای اروپایی و آمریکایی دلشون نمیخواد منطقه آرام باشه تا بتونیم این ارتباطات رو در
As the world closely watches every move of Israel, it will be difficult to say how Israel is planning a massive Iran payback. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
All right, moving to the Russia-Ukraine war. Russia continues to pound Ukraine with airstrikes targeting crucial energy facilities and critical sites. Russian forces have claimed a series of airstrikes targeting Ukrainian energy facilities over the past week. The Russian Defense Ministry reported 38 strikes on military and energy installations. Meanwhile, a Russian airstrike in Zaporizhia has left 3 civilians, including a 12-year-old child, injured. Local authorities confirmed that the attack targeted a residential area with guided aerial missiles. While Ukrainian forces engage in fierce battles with Russian troops, they also reported success in destroying a Russian helicopter amidst the chaos. As the risk of nuclear conflict looms, Nobel Prize winners from the group of atomic bomb survivors have urged global action for disarmament. They warned that the danger of nuclear war is increasing, highlighting Russia's military ambitions.
核兵器をね、禁止してなくさなきゃいけないっていうのは被爆者の課題じゃないんですよ。これ私大げさに言えば人類の課題なんですよね。市民の課題なんですよ。
Meanwhile, Iran has sent 2 satellites to Russia for rocket launch, raising concerns that they could be used by Russia to surveil remote areas with little access to terrestrial networks. In Poland, government officials are responding to this escalating tension by implementing strict measures to curb illegal migration. Prime Minister Donald Tusk announced a temporary suspension of asylum rights, linking it to security concerns stemming from Russian influence. With tensions rising across Europe and the threat of conflict looming, the world watches closely. In the run-up to the SCO summit in Pakistan on the 15th and 16th of October, the country is in the grip of severe security pangs. The series of terror attacks targeting foreign nationals and unrest created by the political opposition have the government on edge. In the latest, the Pakistan Federal Minister Ahsan Iqbal has leveled allegations against what he calls a neighboring country having an agenda to disrupt the Shanghai Cooperation Organization meet. The minister clubbed opposition PDI and Hamsaya Mulk, or neighboring country, together in usual conspiratorial comments. His comments come after the political committee of Imran Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf decided to hold a mega protest rally at D Chowk in the capital on Tuesday. Minister Ahsan Iqbal condemned the protest, terming it political terrorism, which is aimed at maligning the country. Addressing a press conference in Islamabad, he expressed disappointment at the timing of the protest. Amid security concerns, authorities have stopped all meetings with Khan, who has been in Rawalpindi's Adyala jail. Khan's party has been demanding access for Khan to medical and judicial experts. Defense Minister, on the other hand, Khwaja Asif, has also warned that the government will use full force to stop the planned protest on the occasion of the SCO summit. He also called for the courts to intervene and take notice of the matter. The 23rd SCO summit, scheduled on October 15th and 16th, will have several top leaders attending including India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, Russian Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin, Chinese Premier Li Qiang, and Iranian First Vice President Reza Arif. The government has deployed more than 10,000 police and paramilitary personnel for the security of about 900 delegates coming to Islamabad. It also deployed army troops under Article 245 of the Constitution to bolster security measures in Islamabad from October 5th to 17th. The federal government has also announced a 3-day holiday in the capital starting from October 14th to ensure the safety and protection of delegates attending the summit. Prohibitory orders, that is Section 144, has been imposed in Karachi. The security measures have especially been tightened several days after a suicide blast in Karachi left 2 Chinese nationals dead. 2 days later, 20 coal miners were gunned down in an attack in Pakistan's Balochistan province. Moving to India, where the killing of a senior leader of the opposition Nationalist Congress Party, who was also a former minister, Baba Siddiqui, in Mumbai on Saturday night, has sent out shockwaves. Siddiqui was shot dead outside his politician son's office. The killing comes ahead of assembly elections in the politically volatile state. A forensics team reached the spot where Siddiqui was shot dead moments after the crime. Investigations are underway. Now, according to reports, the suspects fired at least 2 to 3 rounds at Siddiqui outside his son's office in Bandra East. Following this, the NCP leader was rushed to the Lilavati hospital for treatment, where he was declared dead. Maharashtra's Chief Minister Eknath Shinde has condemned the incident, promising strict action against those responsible for the heinous crime.
Ex-Minister Baba Siddiqui.
I'm really saddened by the death of Baba Siddiqui. This is really a sad news. So far, police have arrested 2 suspects, while the police commissioner has said that 1 suspect is still on the run. The arrested 2 are from Uttar Pradesh and Haryana. The crime branch is now on a manhunt to nab the 3rd suspect. Further, strict action will be taken against these 3 suspects.
The Mumbai police has arrested 2 of 3 suspected shooters, while the 3rd one is still on the run. Preliminary investigation revealed that a 9.9mm pistol was used in the shootout. Reports say Siddiqui received death threats about a fortnight ago and was provided Y-category security. NCP Chief Sharad Pawar took to his social media account X, saying that the shootout is regrettable while slamming the state's collapsed law and order situation. He also added that the ruling government must take responsibility for the incident. Maharashtra's Deputy Chief Minister Ajit Pawar also condemned the attack on his colleague as cowardly and unfortunate. Several politicians and Bollywood stars lined up outside the Lilavati hospital in Mumbai to pay respects to the leader. 3-time MLA Siddiqui and former minister in the Maharashtra government, Siddiqui is known to have been popular in the celebrity circuit besides politicians. Siddiqui's body has been shifted to Cooper Hospital for a post-mortem analysis. U.S. Democratic presidential nominee Vice President Kamala Harris on Saturday issued a letter from her doctor about her good health, where she pronounced herself fit to take on the responsibilities of the Oval Office. Now, watchers say the fitness letter, was released to draw attention after Donald Trump refused to release his medical report. Our next story tells you more.
Democratic presidential nominee Vice President Kamala Harris released a letter from her doctor on Saturday, pronouncing her to be in good health and fit for the Oval Office. According to a Harris aide, the move was made to draw attention to Republican nominee Donald Trump's refusal to release his medical report.
And it's just a further example of his lack of transparency.
Harris spoke to reporters before boarding a plane to North Carolina.
And it is clear to me that he and his team do not want the American people to really see what it is that he is doing and whether or not he actually is fit to do the job of being president of the United States.
In a memo distributed by the White House, Harris's doctor said her last physical exam in April was unremarkable and that she maintains an active lifestyle and a healthy diet. It noted she suffers from seasonal allergies and sporadic hives, which have been well managed with medications and antihistamine treatment. In a statement, Trump's campaign communications director said that Trump has voluntarily released updates from his personal physician, as well as detailed reports from the medical doctor who treated him after the first assassination attempt. In 2018, when Trump was in office, a White House doctor said he was in overall excellent health, but needed to lose weight and start a daily exercise routine. The Harris campaign is eager to highlight the former president's age of 78, since he became the oldest candidate after 81-year-old President Joe Biden stepped aside from the race. The campaign hopes contrasting Harris's comparative youth and mental acuity with Trump's advanced age and tendency to meander will convince undecided voters that she is more fit for office.
Investors seek signs of growth and optimism in a natural world mode this week. There were sightings of growth in Europe earlier this year, but is now missing. Investors will take out their magnifying glass again as they look ahead for cues on economic activity across the world. Take a look at this next report for more.
Strong job numbers in the US have convinced investors that the Fed will now cut rates more gradually and far less than previously thought. At the same time, there's renewed negativity about the European outlook, so much so that the European Central Bank is poised to step up its pace of easing this week. But what if markets are overdoing the difference between the US and Europe on growth and interest rates? And is this increased divergence actually justified? Investors have overdone the amount of easing being priced in for the Federal Reserve, more so than the ECB. Some economists have highlighted how rates would end up higher in the medium term than the Fed or markets have been penciling in. That's particularly true if Donald Trump wins the presidency and if he can extend and expand tax cuts. The negative bits of the European growth outlook are far from new. Germany is still grappling with a generational shift away from its low-cost energy export model. Weakness in China doesn't help. However, Europe probably stands to benefit more than America if the recent stimulus boost succeeds in firing up Chinese growth. Still, retail sales show that Germany is still in a zone of endless stagnation rather than a more severe recession. The situation outside of Germany hasn't materially changed either. One upside is the jobs market is proving highly resilient across Europe, although the jobs data is a lagging indicator of economic strength. Instead, the fresh wave of negativity that's descended over Europe really stems from a handful of disappointing surveys. Of course, these surveys can be volatile. In the US, the bar is pretty high for the Fed to do anything other than a 25 basis points cut in early November. That is barring a shocker at the jobs report due a few days before. However, there have been a lot of mixed messages in recent numbers. In the wake of the strong September jobs report and the hotter than expected core CPI reading, the market has gone from pricing 0.75% of rate cuts over the next two FOMC meetings in November and December to just about 0.5%. This week's data highlights are US retail sales and industrial production. The Fed's Beige Book is the next big report to watch for guidance on the likely path for Fed policy making. Business Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Anna Kendrick was the Woman of the Hour at the premiere of her directorial debut, Woman of the Hour. More about it in our next story.
Let the games begin.
So, I've been working on it for a while in the sense that it took a little longer to get it out into the world because it went to the Toronto Film Festival, but obviously the strike was going on at the time, so we couldn't go. That just meant that in order to get the movie out, we had to wait a little while, but I'm really happy that we're here tonight.
When I look in your eyes, I go crazy.
Bachelor number 2.
Start this way, everyone. Start this way.
And with that, we call her up to World DNA. Do stay tuned. News and updates will follow on the other side. You're watching WION World is One.
Mozambique holds a general election on the 9th of October, but voters fear they will be deprived of a fair and democratic electoral process. The Southern African nation and is one of the poorest countries in the world, despite its vast natural gas deposits. Kenya's Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua apologizes to his boss, President William Ruto, and citizens after lawmakers launched an impeachment proceeding.
If you insubordinate the state, you are not worth being a state officer.
And Ethiopia's capital hosted thousands at the Irecha Heritage Festival on one end of Addis Ababa, and on the other, thousands celebrated an annual religious festival marked by the lighting of bonfires, according to the beliefs of the local Orthodox Christian faithful. That's this week on World of Africa, at these times on WION World is One.
What if कोई medical emergency हो?
As Alia Bhatt's starrer Jigra currently runs in theatres, we tell you all about the big Indian release.
Hi, I'm Rhiannon Lewis.
Meet the cast of Sweet Pea as the series starts streaming online.
मेरा नाम विजय, दीनानाथ John.
And find out some rare facts about the Indian icon Amitabh Bachchan as he turns a year older. All this and much more with me, Isha Hanspal, at these times only on WION E-Club.
WION brings you a special business talk show where we bring forth the stories of business leaders.
From breakthrough technologies to visionary leadership, we will unlock the trends, the tactics, and dive into the minds of the industry's most influential leaders.
WION brings you this special series to uncover what drives them in a candid talk show, WION Business Masters.
On Inside South Asia this week, after India out rhetoric, Maldivian President Mohamed Muizzu looks to turn a new page with India, calls India a valued partner in his first state visit to New Delhi. Have ties between Pakistan and China started to crumble. Beijing issues a travel advisory to its citizens not to travel to two provinces in Pakistan. And the world bids farewell to the business tycoon and philanthropist Ratan Tata. All this and much more on Inside South Asia.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
This week on the West Asia Post. 1 year on, the war in Gaza rages. Little is left of the enclave, which was once home to 2.3 million. Israeli attacks turn entire neighborhoods to rubble. Centuries-old mosques and churches demolished and vital agricultural lands destroyed. Children killed and orphaned as civilians pay the heaviest price. The war in West Asia expands as the world powers fail in de-escalation efforts.
Watch the West Asia Post with me, Radi Francis, only on WION. The World is One.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching WION World is One. I'm Shivan Chandna. Let's start with the headlines. A violence-marred Yom Kippur in Israel, Lebanon and Gaza. Israel says Hezbollah fired 320 projectiles. Itself claims to have hit around 280 terror targets in Lebanon and Gaza. India is among 40 countries contributing to the UN Lebanon peacekeeping force to condemn the recent Israeli attack on a peacekeeping mission. At least 5 peacekeepers wounded by Israeli fire in the last 48 hours. More than 100 UN member states signed letter for support for UN Chief Antonio Guterres after Israel declared him persona non grata. US, UK, Australia and Canada among nations that did not back the UN chief. Taiwan says it detected 11 Chinese military aircraft and 8 PLA vessels around the island. 9 of the jets are said to have crossed the median line and entered Taiwan's northern, southwestern and eastern air defense identification zones. Two persons arrested after Nationalist Congress Party leader and former Minister Baba Siddiqui shot dead in Mumbai late on Saturday. Maharashtra Chief Minister Shinde vows strict action. The state goes to assembly elections later this year. Heavy security in place in Dhaka for the Vijay Dashmi procession and immersion of the Durga idol. After India's official complaint, authorities keep close eye on elements attempt to raise communal tensions. Men in Blue script history in India versus Bangladesh third T20 international notch a mind-boggling 297 runs in their innings. The second highest total ever posted in a T20I match and the highest by a test playing nation.